Hey everybody, big welcome back. And today we're going to be discussing the ship, the abandoned pirate ship in Jordan Harbor, Ontario, which is right alongside the QEW on the shores of Lake Ontario. And basically, I've got a different story than most. Most people just say, "Oh, I drive by it and I see it." I've actually been on this ship, and so I'm going to tell you a quick little story about it. So basically, my ex brother-in-law and I, back many, many years ago, this would have been 1997, I believe, we decided one night that we were going to go and get on this ship. And there used to be a rope that went from the boat to the shore. So we'd gone there, and it was still like the water was icy. It had ice and water, so I don't remember. It was like springtime or something anyway. The water was freezing cold, and there was still some ice on it. So we tried to climb across on this rope hanging, but it was just too cold and wouldn't have had the strength to kind of pull ourselves across on this rope. And it doesn't look far, but that's actually like, 40 or 50 feet from the shoreline up to the boat, and you'd be going on an incline. So we went home and had to kind of strategize a plan. So we came up with the genius idea of taking Rubbermaid totes, um, and two of them and taping them together. So I believe we both had one of these contraptions. We duct taped these rubber totes together, and we thought that we were going to like paddle ourselves across. So we go there and we try that. Very quickly, the totes flip, and we are soaking wet in ice water. So we go back to the shore. We're freezing cold, and you may have noticed, and you'll see it again, there was a barge. So we're freezing cold, but we didn't know how deep the water was at the ship, so we didn't want to wade out to it. So we see this barge, and on the barge is a lifeboat, and or something like it was like a one of those 12-foot fiberglass boats. Anyway, so it's all beat up. It's a piece of crap. They weren't actually using it for anything. So we go and we walk over to the barge. You can see the barge is not that far from land, and we were actually probably up to our nipples in water, freezing ice water, keep in mind. We get on this barge and we take the lifeboat. I'm going to tell you right now, goddamn, I hope that the statute of limitations is over because I'm telling you the story and I was a young offender at the time, so I don't even want any trouble. But anyway, so we take this boat and we paddle our asses over by where you see where the beam is touching the water almost there. Basically, somewhere around there, we were able to come up to a dock. There used to be like a floating dock thing next to it. And this was before it was burned. By the way, the boat's been burned, so it wasn't like this when we went on it. It was actually a lot better. Um, so we managed to get onto the boat, which used to be a restaurant. And so inside, it was all like murals of, I don't remember what, like I think like cherubs and crap. And there was actually a safe in the wall that was closed. So odds are it was empty. We didn't like try to get in or anything. I just remember seeing it was orange. Um, so we strolled around. You couldn't obviously go into the lower section of the ship. It was completely flooded. So we didn't know a whole lot about the ship. All we know is that it was abandoned by its owner. It was brought here to be turned into a restaurant, which had been used as a restaurant somewhere else prior to this. But anyway, it didn't end up happening, and I think like the owner basically abandoned it, and it's been sitting here rotting ever since. And then yeah, some people lit it on fire at whatever point, and yeah, so then it's just become kind of like an icon along the QEW. People drive by it every day, and it's it's an interesting site. And I'm really glad that I was one of the few people. Well, I don't know. I can't say the few people. One of the people that actually got to go on the ship. Now, here's the thing, especially where I don't want to get in trouble for this, but I tell you anyway. It's been a long time. 23 years ago. The next day, it appeared that our little lifeboat that we used to get out to there, we just kind of pushed it back in the water when we were done. They ended up having a search and rescue because the fucking lifeboat washed up on shore, and then we were so afraid that somehow we were gonna get caught and whatever. Um, Somebody wants to go to the prom with Joe, so I don't know if that was for this year because that's probably canceled due to COVID. But anyway, um, Yeah, so we were kind of worried that somehow they were going to track this back to us, and kind of felt bad, like, you know what I mean, that they did a whole search and rescue thing, but we couldn't exactly call and say that, oh, we borrowed that boat off the barge so we could go and like trespass on this ship. And yeah, so it was a fun time. Right now, like I sit and I look at it sometimes, and I've thought about trying to go on it before and film for you guys, walking around. I'm sure there's plenty of videos on YouTube of other people doing it, but in all honesty, it's all burned out now. I don't imagine there's much of anything to see in there other than a burned out steel hull. It would have been a sight to see back in the day when we had gone in it. If I somehow could have shared those images with you, I definitely would have loved to have. At the end of this video, I'm going to throw up a few pictures I did find on Google of the way the ship, used to look. Um, Also, this was, I believe, like a carrier ship or something. It was not actually built as a restaurant. It was like retrofitted to look like a pirate ship. Um, I'll probably put a link to the story or whatever below. And while I was out here, I saw that these people were doing something out here, and so I kind of wanted to creep on them, but I didn't want to sit there actually aiming at them. So I have no idea what they're doing. Like they're painting or doing whatever to that pole. So I come back out here, do a turnaround. But yeah, so that's my story of the Jordan Harbor pirate ship. By all means, if you guys want to share your stories with it, if you're local, if you've been on it, if you've seen it, if you have any information that you think that should go with the story that I haven't mentioned, by all means, comment it below. And yeah, I don't think this thing's ever going to go anywhere now. It is not worth anything more than scrap value, but I don't think the scrap value weight would be enough to cover the cost of the actual removal and cutting it up and all that. So I think it'll sit here rotting just like this barge. Um, but I did a lot of crazy shit when I was a teenager, so I am glad that I actually got the chance to go out there and see it. And that'll be that. And by the way, while this was all going on, we actually heard on the police scanner I drive with the police scanner on sometimes, some poor bastard went and jumped off the Burlington Skyway yesterday. So thoughts with his family. Not that they'll probably ever see this, but don't know what the deal was. But he just nosedived off in the middle of the day in front of everybody, and yep, hit the ground underneath in a construction site, whatever. So sorry about that. And here comes some pictures. Anyway, you guys check out some pictures and see the ship before. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.